He worked on a space station called Delta Blue, floating above a peaceful planet named Nora. The station was not very big. It was used to store supplies, fuel, and small repair ships. Many kinds of aliens worked there. Some had blue skin, some had long arms, and some looked like large insects. But Tom was the only human. He didn't mind. He liked being alone. He cleaned tools, checked cargo, and fixed broken parts. He never talked much. He smiled politely, did his job, and kept his head down. But not everyone liked Tom. A group of insect-like aliens, tall and sharp-looking, often made fun of him. They worked in cargo loading. Their leader was named Goran. Goran had red eyes and strong arms. He liked to show off in front of his team, and he liked to pick on Tom. Slow hands, Goran would say with a sneer. Soft skin. Another would laugh. Tom never answered. He would just walk away and go back to work. He didn't want to cause trouble. He believed in staying calm. His job was to keep the station running, not to fight. But deep inside, Tom was tired of being pushed around. One day, Tom was fixing a scanning screen near the landing bay. He wore his tool belt and held a small data tablet. He worked carefully, checking the wires. That's when Goran and his group walked by, still cleaning screens. Human, Goran asked loudly. Tom didn't look up. He kept working. Goran walked over and tapped the tablet in Tom's hand. It fell. Tom picked it up without saying anything. The screen had cracked a little. Oops. Goran said, smiling. Maybe ask your Earth friends to send better tools. One of the others laughed. Another one kicked the toolbox slightly, moving it out of Tom's reach. Tom stood up slowly and picked up his things. He didn't yell. He didn't push back. He just looked at them calmly and said, I have work to finish. Goran leaned in close. You think you're better than us. You think being quiet makes you strong. Tom looked him in the eye for just a moment. No, I don't think that at all. Then he turned and walked away. Later that night, Tom sat in his small room. It had one bed, one desk, and a small window showing the stars. The cracked tablet sat on the desk beside him. He touched the screen gently and opened an old message app. He stared at a name at the top of the screen, a name he hadn't contacted in a long time. He hesitated. Then he typed one short message. They are getting worse. I'm fine for now, but I wanted to let you know. He sent it. He didn't expect an answer. Maybe it would take days to reach the other side of the galaxy. Maybe she wouldn't even see it. But he had to send it, just in case. Tom turned off the light and lay down. He stared at the ceiling and tried to sleep. But his mind was full of memories. He remembered fire. He remembered smoke. He remembered a rescue ship flying through a battle zone. And he remembered eyes, bright silver eyes looking at him through a broken airlock. Back then, nobody had expected him to act. But he had stayed behind to hold the door open. A group of alien warriors had escaped through that door. One of them had sworn a vow that day. But that was a long time ago. Now he was just a station worker. A quiet man with a cracked tablet and sore shoulders. The next morning, Tom got up early. He went to check the cargo files. Something was wrong. One of the supply lists had been changed. An entire shipment of food packs was marked as missing. But Tom had checked it himself yesterday. It was all there. He found a camera clip. It showed Goran messing with the screen while Tom had been fixing a panel nearby. Tom sighed. He knew what this meant. His supervisor would blame him later. During a meeting, the boss looked at Tom with tired eyes. This is the third time something like this happened, she said. Tom nodded. I'll fix the list. It won't happen again. But she shook her head. If it happens one more time, I'll have to report it. Please be careful. Tom left the meeting and walked back to his work area. Goran and his friends passed by again. Bad day, soft hands, Goran said with a laugh. Tom didn't answer. He sat down and began fixing the report. But deep inside, something was building. Not anger, not fear, just a simple truth. He had been patient long enough. Later, when his shift was over, Tom sent one more message. This time, he wrote just the words, come soon. Then he looked out the window and waited. Far away, beyond stars and gas clouds. A silver-armored ship was already changing course. It moved fast, with purpose, like a spear through space. Its engines burned blue, and its shields hummed like a song of warning. The pilot did not smile. She had made a promise long ago, and now someone had tried to harm the man she loved. Tom woke early the next day. The lights in his room turned on slowly. He sat up and stretched. His back felt stiff, but he didn't complain. He had work to do. He cleaned his face, put on his work uniform, and checked his tools. He placed the cracked data tablet in a soft cloth bag. Then he walked quietly down the metal hull toward the cargo area. The space station was busy today. A large ship from the planet Nora had arrived during the night. It had brought fresh supplies and more repair parts. Many workers moved around with crates and scanners. Robots rolled down the halls carrying boxes. The docking bay was full of noise. Tom kept his head low and went straight to the loading station. He started checking the new supply list. As he worked, he noticed Goran and his group near the back of the bay. They were laughing loudly, tossing empty crates like toys. Tom focused on his screen. He didn't want to give them any reason to notice him, but Goran noticed anyway. He walked over, tall and wide, with his long arms swinging. Well, Goran said, standing beside him. Still here, soft hands. Tom kept typing. I'm working. Goran leaned close. Why don't you go work somewhere else? There are planets with animals to clean. Maybe that suits you better. Tom stood still. His heart beat a little faster, but his face stayed calm. I have a job, he said, and I'm doing it. Goran frowned. He didn't like being ignored. He grabbed the cracked tablet from Tom's bag and held it up. Still using this broken toy, he asked. Tom reached for it gently. Give it back. Goran held it high, just out of reach. His group stood behind him, laughing. Then Goran turned and tossed the tablet into the waste chute nearby. Tom's eyes followed it as it disappeared into the dark tunnel. The laughter grew louder. Tom looked at Goran, then at the others. He said nothing. He didn't yell. He didn't push. He just turned and walked away. Run home. Little human, one of them shouted. But Tom wasn't running. He was walking with quiet purpose. He went to the small computer room near the back of the station. He sat down and sent a short signal. This one was not a message. It was a code, a simple pulse. One Tom had been told to use only if he was in real danger. He sent it. Then he went back to work. Later that day, the station commander called him to the main office. She looked at him with a serious face. I got a complaint, she said. Goran says you threw a crate at him? Tom blinked. That's not true. I checked the cameras, she said. There's no video. The angle was blocked. Tom sighed. He threw my tablet away. The commander nodded. I believe you, but I can't prove it. Tom stood silent. The commander lowered her voice. Look, Tom, I know you're good. You work hard. You never cause trouble. But Goran is loud and has many friends. He's making you a target. I understand. Tom said quietly. I'm just saying, she added, if you ever need to leave this job, I can help you transfer. Tom looked at her. Thank you, but I think I'll stay a little longer. That night, the station floated quietly above the blue planet. The stars shone bright outside the windows. Tom sat at the food table alone. He ate slowly. He had no tablet to read, no music to play. He just listened to the sound of the ship. Then the lights flickered, only for a second, but long enough for Tom to look up. Something was coming. In the control room, alarms started to beep. A strange ship had entered the area. The crew stared at the screen. The ship was large, sharp, and silver. Its engines were shaped like wings. Its body looked like a sword in space. Unknown vessel approaching, said the officer. Shields up, said the commander. But the ship didn't fire. It just moved closer and sent a signal, requesting docking. Priority code 7 read. The commander paused. That's a warrior code. From Sector 9. Tom stood up from his seat. His hands shook just a little. Let it dock, he whispered. The commander turned to him. Do you know that ship? Tom nodded. Yes, she's here. The docking doors opened with a loud hiss. Steam filled the bay. The lights turned red for a moment. Then the fog cleared. A tall figure stepped through the door. She wore silver armor that shimmered in the light. Her helmet opened slowly to show her face. Her skin was pale blue. Her eyes were silver, bright and steady. She looked around the bay. Her voice was clear and strong. "Where's Tom?" Tom stepped forward. The whole bay went silent. No one moved. The tall warrior smiled slightly and walked straight to him. "You sent the code." She said. Tom nodded. She placed her armored hand gently on his shoulder. "Did they harm you?" Tom shook his head. "Not yet." She turned her head. Her silver eyes looked at the workers near the back. Goran was there. He was no longer laughing. His tall frame no longer looked strong. The laughing group behind him had gone quiet. Every worker in the docking bay had stopped what they were doing. All eyes were on the warrior who had just stepped through the airlock. Her armor gave off a soft glow. It looked like it was alive, moving gently with her body. Her long braid reached her back, tied with silver bands. There was a quiet power in her step, as if each move was planned and perfect. She looked straight at Goran. "You," she said. Goran blinked. "Me? You pushed him. You mocked him. You threw away his things," she said calmly. "And now, I am here." Goran took a step back. "This is not your place. This is a workstation. You have no command here." She walked forward slowly. "I do not need command. I came for my husband." Gasps filled the air. Some workers whispered in shock. "Tom is married to her, to a warrior?" No wonder he stayed so quiet. Tom stood behind her, his face calm but his heart beating fast. The station commander walked quickly into the docking bay. She looked from the warrior to Tom. "What is going on?" she asked. Tom stepped forward. "Commander, this is Rena. She is my wife." The commander raised her eyebrows. "Wife?" Tom nodded. "We met during a rescue mission 4 years ago. I helped her escape a pirate ambush. Her people swore a life bond. Rena and I chose marriage." Rena added, "My people believe in keeping promises. I made one. I said I would protect him if danger came." Goran snorted. "He was never in danger. He is just soft. He cannot take a joke." Tom looked at him. "Throwing my tablet into a waste chute is not a joke. Changing cargo files is not a joke. Lying to the commander is not a joke." Goran folded his arms. "You think you are strong. Now because someone fights for you?" Tom shook his head. "No. I was strong when I stayed quiet. I was strong when I walked away. I am still strong now." But she came because someone crossed the line. Rena stepped forward again. She stopped just a few feet from Goran. "I do not seek war," she said. "I do not break rules. But I follow my bond. If you try to harm Tom again, I will not stay silent." One of Goran's friends stepped up. "Are you threatening us?" Rena looked at him. "No, I am giving a warning." The station commander stepped between them. "All of you, calm down. This is not a battlefield. This is a supply station." She looked at Rena. "You are welcome here, but you must follow our laws. No fighting, no weapons drawn." Rena nodded. "I understand. I will follow your rules, but I will protect what is mine." The commander turned to Goran and his group. "I don't want another report about this. Leave Tom alone. He's done nothing wrong." Goran clenched his jaw. "Fine." He turned and walked away, but his steps were stiff. His pride had been hit. Rena turned to Tom. "Your signal reached me faster than I thought." Tom smiled. "Your ship is faster than most." She placed a hand on his shoulder. "I came as fast as I could." The workers around them began to move again. The tension faded a little, but whispers filled the air. Many stared in wonder at Rena's armor, her height, her calm power. Tom and Rena walked down the hallway to the crew lounge. It was quiet there. Tom made tea while Rena looked out the window at the stars. "Why didn't you call me sooner?" she asked. "I wanted to handle it myself," Tom said. "You did. You stayed calm. You did not let anger win." Tom looked down. "But I still needed you." Rena turned to him. "And I came." They sat in silence for a moment. Then Rena asked, "Do you want me to stay?" Tom nodded slowly. "At least for a little while." Rena smiled. Then I will. Later that evening, a meeting was held in the main hall. The commander stood at the front. Rena stood beside her in peaceful stance, armor off but still dressed in her warrior uniform. I have decided, the commander said, to make Rena an official guest of this station. She will be given a room and access to the common areas. She has agreed to follow all rules and will not interfere with normal duties. Many nodded. Some still looked unsure, but no one argued. Rena stepped forward. I did not come to fight. I came to watch. I came to make sure the one I love is safe. If safety returns, I will leave. But if danger comes again, I will not stand still. Her words were simple, but every person in the room heard the meaning behind them. Tom stood near the back. He felt something he hadn't felt in many weeks. Peace. That night, the stars outside the station glowed brighter than usual. And far away, Gorn sat in his room, staring at his wall. He was not afraid. Not yet, but he was angry. Angry at how things had changed. Angry at how one quiet human could bring a warrior to his door. He whispered to himself, "This isn't over." But even he wasn't sure if he believed it. The next morning, the space station felt different. Tom walked through the halls with his head held a little higher. Workers nodded at him now. Some smiled. A few even greeted him with kind words. "Morning, Tom. Hey, good to see you." It felt strange, but also nice. Rena walked beside him. She wore a clean, soft uniform today. Not her armor. Even without it, she looked strong and confident. Her long braid moved gently as she walked. Her steps were quiet, but firm. They entered the lunch area together. The room became silent for a moment. Then everyone went back to eating. Tom sat down with a warm drink. Rena stood near the wall, watching everything. Across the room, Gorn sat with his group. He stared at Rena. His eyes were cold. He had not forgotten yesterday. Later that day, the commander called a meeting with Gorn, Tom, and Rena. They sat in the small office near the control deck. The commander leaned forward. "This cannot continue," she said. "We need peace on this station." Tom nodded. "I agree." Rena said nothing. She looked calm but alert. Gorn crossed his arms. "I didn't break any rules." The commander looked at him. "You pushed someone. You threw away his property. You lied about what happened." Gorn looked away. "It was just a joke." The commander spoke firmly. "You've had too many warnings." Rena spoke for the first time. "I do not want war. But if he harms Tom again, I will not stay quiet." Gorn laughed once. "What will you do? Hit me?" Rena stood up slowly. "I will answer with honor." Gorn stood too. "Fine. Then let's do it right. A duel. Station rules allow it if both sides agree." The commander looked shocked. "That rule has not been used in years." Rena said, "I accept." Tom stood up. "No, you don't have to do this." She looked at him. "You did not ask, but I choose it." Gorn smiled. "Tomorrow, noon. Training hall." He walked out. The commander sighed. "You know you don't have to do this, Rena." Rena nodded. "I know, but I will." That night, Tom and Rena sat in their room. "I'm not worth a fight," Tom said quietly. Rena turned to him. "You're worth a galaxy." Tom smiled, but worry filled his face. "He's strong. And you're not from here. If you hurt him, they might not understand." Rena placed her hand on his. "I will not hurt him badly. I will only show truth." Tom looked into her silver eyes. "Be careful." The next day came fast. The training hall was clean and wide. It had smooth walls, safety shields, and soft flooring. It was made for practice, not for battle. But today, the air felt heavy. Workers gathered around the edge of the room. The commander stood in the middle, between Rena and Gorn. "You both understand the rules," she said. "No weapons. No deadly strikes. Stop when one yields." Both nodded. Tom stood near the door, watching. His hands were tight. Gorn stepped forward first. He cracked his knuckles and smiled. "Let's see what your soft hands can do." Rena did not smile. She took a ready stance. Feet firm and balanced, the commander gave the signal. The duel began. Gorn rushed forward. His steps were loud, heavy. He threw a strong punch at Rena's chest. She moved aside gently, like wind around a tree. He spun and tried again. This time she ducked low and tapped his knee. He stumbled. The crowd whispered "Goran." Growled. He jumped high and came down hard with both fists. Rena rolled under him and stood behind him before he landed. She touched his shoulder and said, "You leave many openings." He turned fast and swung again, angry now. She blocked with one arm and slid to the side. She tapped his back. "You used too much power, too fast." He roared and charged. This time, she didn't move. She stepped forward and placed her palm flat on his chest, stopping him mid-run. With a twist, she swept his legs. He fell. The crowd gasped. He jumped up and shouted, "Fight me for real." She nodded once. "You asked for a duel, not war." Goran ran at her again. This time she didn't hold back. She moved faster. Her hands blocked every hit. Her feet stayed light. She turned every attack into a counter. She knocked him down again and again. He got up slower each time. After the fifth fall, he stayed down for a moment. Then he tried to rise. Rena stood still. "Enough," she said. "This is not strength. This is pride." Goran looked up at her. His arms shook. His pride was broken. He lowered his head. "I yield." The commander stepped forward. "It is done." Rena bowed her head. Tom ran to her side. "Are you all right?" She smiled gently. "I did not even sweat." The crowd clapped. Some cheered. Others just stood silent, eyes wide. Tom looked around. Everything had changed. No one saw him as weak anymore. After the duel, the space station felt quiet. Not the kind of quiet that came from silence, but a quiet filled with respect, the kind that made people stop and think before speaking. Workers moved carefully. Conversations were shorter. Everyone now looked at Tom with new eyes. He was no longer just the quiet human. He was the man whose wife defeated Goran in front of the whole station. Tom walked down the hall with Rena beside him. Every time they passed someone, heads turned. Some nodded. Others moved out of the way. One engineer even gave Tom a small smile and said, "Nice to see you." Tom gave a polite nod, though inside he still felt strange. He had lived on this station for 2 years. During that time, many ignored him. Some had laughed behind his back. A few had tried to make his life harder. But now, everything had changed. Not because he shouted, not because he fought, but because someone stood up for him. Someone strong. Someone who cared. At lunch, the dining hall was full, but quiet. People sat in small groups, whispering and watching Rena. She sat with Tom, eating calmly. A worker from the food team walked over, holding a tray. "This is for you," she said. "We added extra fruit packs. You like those, right?" Tom looked surprised. "Thank you." The worker smiled and walked away. Rena watched her leave. "You are gaining honor," she said. Tom smiled a little. "I didn't fight. You didn't need to," she said. "Your truth stood on its own." Across the room, Goran sat at a corner table with his team. His arms were crossed. His head was low. His eyes stayed on his food. The group around him didn't laugh anymore. They ate in silence. Later that day, the commander asked Rena and Tom to meet her in the office. "You've caused quite a shift," she said with a small smile. "In a good way." Tom stayed quiet. Rena asked, "Are we causing problems?" "No." The commander said, "You brought balance." Sometimes, people forget what respect means. They remember when they see it in action. Tom nodded. The commander looked at Rena. "Your ship is still docked. Are you staying longer?" Rena looked at Tom. "Only if he wishes." Tom thought for a moment. "I'd like that." The commander smiled. "Then we'll prepare a proper guest room for you." After the meeting, Rena spent time in the training hall. Some of the younger workers asked if she could teach them basic moves. She agreed. By the third day, the group had grown. Even a few of Goran's team joined the training. Tom stood outside the hall, watching Rena move with grace and power, showing simple stances and balance. The workers followed her movements, learning quietly. Later, one of the trainees walked up to Tom. "She's amazing," the worker said. I didn't know you were connected to someone like her. Tom smiled. We're just two people who met during hard times. The worker nodded. Well, you're lucky. Tom looked into the training hall and said, I know. That evening, Tom sat at his desk and looked at his new data tablet. It was a gift from the station commander, thanking him for his patience and honesty. He opened a message he had never finished writing. It was a report about the cargo problems and missing items. Before, he had been afraid to send it. He worried no one would believe him. Now, he finished it. The message was simple and clear. It listed the mistakes, the proof, and the changes that were needed. When he hit send, he felt light inside. Rena sat on the bed, brushing her braid. Done with work, Tom nodded. Finally, she looked at him. You carry your work like a warrior carries a blade. Careful and quiet, but strong. Tom chuckled. That might be the best thing anyone has said to me. She smiled. You deserve better than you have received. Tom walked over and sat beside her. Things are better now. Yes, she said, because you stayed true. The next day, Tom returned to his normal duties. He checked cargo, repaired small machines, and cleaned workstations. But now, workers asked if he needed help. Some offered tools. Others asked questions with respect in their voices. Even the station robots seemed to beat friendly around him. During a system check in the lower bay, Goran entered the room. Tom turned slowly. The air became tense for a moment. Goran looked tired. His voice was softer than usual. I came to return something, he said. He held out a small, cracked tablet. It was Tom's old device, the one Goran had thrown away. Someone had clearly pulled it from the waste chute and cleaned it. Tom took it gently. Thank you. I was wrong, Goran said. I thought you were weak, but I see now. You were stronger than I ever was. Tom didn't smile. He simply said, I hope you learn from this. Goran nodded and walked away without another word. Tom looked at the cracked screen. He placed it on the shelf beside the new tablet. He didn't need it anymore, but he would keep it as a reminder that quiet strength was still strength, and that respect could be earned even in space. Tom stood near the big window of the space station. The stars outside looked calm and peaceful. He took a deep breath and smiled. For the first time in a long while, he felt at peace. Rena stood beside him, holding a warm cup of tea. She looked at the stars too. Her silver eyes reflected the lights of space. She said nothing, but her presence made everything feel safe. A soft sound came from the hallway. It was the voice of the station commander. Tom, Rena, may I speak with you? They both turned. The commander stepped into the room with a kind but serious look. I've received a few questions from other stations, she said. They want to know more about Rena. They've seen the records of the duel. Some are curious. Others are concerned. Tom nodded. I understand. I want to help, the commander said. But I need to know the full story. How did you meet? How did this bond begin? Tom looked at Rena. She gave a small nod. It's time, she said softly. They all sat down at the table. The lights dimmed a little. The station hummed in the background. Tom began to speak. It started 4 years ago. I was working on a cargo ship called the North Flame. We were bringing supplies to the border planets. Nothing special. Just a routine mission. Rena added, but the route passed near pirate space. Tom nodded. We were attacked. 3 pirate ships came out of nowhere. They jammed our signal and boarded us. The crew panicked. I locked myself in the engine room and tried to send out a distress call. The commander listened carefully, saying nothing. Tom continued. While I was fixing the signal wires, I heard a sound. Another ship had arrived, a battleship. It didn't belong to the human fleet. It was fast and sharp like a blade. It fired at the pirates and forced them back. Rena smiled. That was my ship, the Wind. We were chasing those pirates. They had stolen from our homeworld. Tom said her team boarded our ship. They fought off the pirates. I remember seeing her for the first time. She was standing in smoke and fire. Her armor was cracked, but she kept fighting. I saw Tom holding a broken door open. Rena said, One of our wounded soldiers was trapped behind it. Tom didn't run. He used his own body to keep the door open long enough for us to pull the soldier through. The commander raised her eyebrows. You risked your life for someone. You didn't know. Tom nodded. It felt right. I couldn't leave them behind, Rena said. After the fight, our leader wanted to leave quickly. But I stayed behind. I spoke with Tom. I thanked him. We talked for only 5 minutes. But something was clear. Tom looked at her. We were different, but we understood each other. Rena continued. I returned to my people. Later, I sent a message, then another. We stayed in contact for many months. We met on a peaceful moon and talked for hours. Our bond grew, and when the time was right, we chose marriage. The commander looked thoughtful. You married under her customs, Tom said. Yes, I traveled to her home world. The ceremony was simple, but full of meaning. Her people accepted me, Rena added. It was not easy. Many did not understand. Some questioned my choice, but I saw strength in Tom that others could not see. Quiet strength. True strength, Tom said. After that, I returned to human space. I wanted to keep working. She stayed with her people but gave me a signal code, one I could use only in great need. The commander nodded slowly. And now we're here, Rena said. He used the signal only when he truly needed me, and I came. The commander leaned back in her chair. Thank you for telling me. It explains a lot. I'll make sure others understand. You both acted with honor. Tom said, thank you for listening. Before the commander left, she paused at the door. You've changed the station, she said. Not by fighting, but by showing who you are. Then she walked away. Rena turned to Tom. Do you feel lighter now? Tom smiled. Yes. I didn't want to hide it anymore. That evening, they walked through the main deck together. Workers greeted them with smiles and waves. One crew member even asked for a photo with Rena. She agreed kindly and posed without her helmet. Tom laughed. You're famous now, she replied. I fight for truth, not for fame. As they walked past the storage room, Tom saw Goran inside. He was lifting crates and moving tools. He worked alone. Silent and focused. Tom paused. Rena looked at him. Do you wish to speak to him? Tom thought for a moment. Yes. He stepped into the room. Goran looked up. Surprised. Tom said, I didn't come to fight. Goran nodded. I know. Tom walked closer. I told the commander everything. The truth about how I met Rena. I thought you should hear it too. Goran wiped his hands. I already guessed. You never acted like a victim. You were just patient, Tom said. I'm not here to win. I'm here to live with respect. Goran looked at him. You've earned it. Tom extended his hand. After a long pause, Goran took it. Rena watched from the doorway, her face calm. Later, Tom and Rena returned to their room. Tom sat at the small table and opened his notebook. What are you writing? Rena asked. A message. Tom said, to your people, I want to visit again. Not as a guest, but as family. Rena smiled. You'll be welcomed with open arms. A week had passed since the duel. The space station was running smoothly. Crates were delivered on time. Repairs were done faster. Fewer mistakes were reported in the cargo logs. Something had changed, not in the machines, but in the people. It began with small things. Workers started helping each other more. Fewer arguments happened in the halls. Even the loudest voices became softer. The air felt lighter, friendlier. And at the center of it all was Tom. He still spoke quietly. He still arrived early for work and stayed late if needed. But now, everyone noticed. Now, when he walked into a room, people nodded with respect. When he gave advice, others listened. Rena had become part of the daily life on the station. She continued her training sessions in the empty storage bay. More and more workers joined. Even a few senior engineers, who had once said they were too old to learn, showed up to stretch and follow her movements. One day, the commander came to watch. She stood near the back, arms crossed, a thoughtful look on her face. When the session ended, she called Tom and Rena to her office. I've been thinking, the commander said. This station needs a safety team, not just for fighting, but for training, health, and calm thinking under pressure. I want both of you to lead it." Tom looked surprised. "Me? You've already been doing the job," she said. "You've taught this crew how to treat each other with respect. You stayed calm when others pushed you. You stood strong without anger. That's real leadership," Rena added, "and Tom teaches by example. He listens. He works hard. People follow him. Because they trust him." Tom looked down for a moment, then nodded. "I'll do it." The next day, a new announcement was made. Tom has been named head of the station's safety team. Rena will serve as training advisor. The crew clapped. Some even cheered. No one questioned it. Later, while walking through the hall, Tom passed two new workers from a nearby supply base. They were reading signs and looking lost. One of them said, "Excuse me, do you know where the storage bay is?" Tom smiled and pointed. "That way. Take the second left," the other worker asked. "Are you the human everyone talks about? The one with the warrior wife?" Tom gave a small smile. "Yes, that's me." The first worker said. "People said you were weak, but now they say you're the strongest person here." Tom shook his head gently. "I'm just someone who kept going." They nodded and walked away. Later, during his break, Tom sat by the window again. Rena joined him with 2 cups of warm tea. "You're well known now," she said. "I didn't plan for that," he replied. She smiled. "True respect comes to those who do not chase it." Tom looked out at the stars. "Do you ever miss your world?" "Sometimes," she said. "But wherever you are feels like home." Tom nodded. "We should go visit your people. They deserve to know what happened. They will be proud," Rena said. "Not just because I kept my promise, but because you became a leader." That night, Tom sent a message to Rena's home world. It was simple and clear. "We are ready to visit." The next day, a reply arrived. "The doors of our home are open to you both." A week later, the Shar Wind, Rena's fast and beautiful ship, was ready. The entire station came to see them off. Even Goran stood in the crowd. He didn't speak, but he gave a small nod. Tom returned it with a calm look. The commander shook Tom's hand. "This station is better because of you. Come back any time." Tom nodded. "Thank you for giving me a chance." Rena placed her hand on the ship's door. It opened with a soft sound. Tom looked back at the station one last time. He had arrived there as the quiet human with soft hands. People had laughed, pushed, and ignored him. Now, he was the heart of the station, a leader, a teacher, a man whose strength had come not from fists or anger, but from patience, kindness, and truth. As the ship left the docking bay, the stars stretched before them. Tom stood beside Rena on the bridge, watching the galaxy grow wider. She looked at him and said, "You were never weak. The world just took time to see it." Tom smiled. "I'm glad you did." And with that, they flew into the stars, ready for the next chapter of their journey.